Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Marketing in the Madness, where every single week I interview some of the most inspiring, brilliant people across the world of brand, marketing, technology, and today, even consumer and market intelligence. I have got a fantastic interview for you. So if you're joining for the first time or if you are a regular listener, before I tell you about today's guest, can I please ask you a little tiny favour? Make sure that you head over to your favourite platform. Well, you're probably listening on it already, and just hit that subscribe button. Then I can make sure you are not missing any of our amazing guests over the next few weeks. Today, guys, honestly, I have just been interviewing the fantastic Ian Davis, who sat right here next to me still. Ian is the CPO of a fantastic company called Quid. Quid are a consumer and market intelligence company that are predicting the future for brands. Today, we delve into, well, a little bit more about Quid and the kind of general trends they're seeing. But if you are in the world of retail or CPG, you are going to want to dial in, dial up, and truly focus on today's podcast because we share some really interesting insights into the trends that you should be aware of in 2026. Now, less of me. Over to the fantastic Ian. He's going to be sharing, well, a little bit more about Quid and what you guys do, but also if you're interested in retail, consumer goods, retail and entertainment, we are going to be sharing some live bespoke insights for you guys today. So you want to be tuning in, dialing up, dialing in and making sure you don't go anywhere. So Ian, over to you. Before we talk about Quid, give me the Ian story, because you actually live near me here down in Bournemouth.
Down the road, yes. I've managed to carve out a career, sat here at my desk here in Bournemouth. So it's pretty amazing that we've been in close proximity, but never really actually met face to face, Katie. So it's great to meet you and to have an experience with you to do the podcast. It's great fun. So about me, so really, I guess my kind of internet part of my career started back in 2000. I've been in the e-commerce platform space for the majority of my career, so which is like 25 years since I kind of made that move into internet, web technology, and e-commerce. Like many of us in the commerce platform space, there's a few particular companies which we all stemmed from around that time. So there was Intershop, which was used by Demandware, which went into Salesforce. There was a Blue Martini. I was lucky enough to work at one of the pioneers, which was a company called ATG, which is where a lot of the kind of sales, the commerce leaders actually stem from today. I rode the ATG horse for quite a long time. So when I joined them in 2000, I actually transitioned into Oracle when Oracle purchased ATG in 2010, and I had the opportunity to lead product management and had the opportunity to launch Oracle Commerce Cloud when I was in Oracle. So we built that product out, got that to market, got leadership positions in the Forrester Waves and the Gartner quadrants, and yes, so I had a good old kind of career, 12 years of inside of Oracle, in addition to the 10 years previous at ATG. So yeah, heavy background in everything around commerce and personalization and the customer experience that drives online shopping.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with that because a lot of my clients also deliver that today. And I mean, the world's changed so much. The technologies have changed. I'm also an avid shopper, to my own detriment. Yeah, my bank account probably doesn't like me very much for that. But I think the world's changing so quickly. So the insights that you're going to share with us today, not just about your journey and your own experience in this world, but I think what Quid's doing is really, really exciting for retailers to be able, all of the different sectors to be able to get ahead, but specifically retail, I feel is, there's been a big impact here.
It is. Quid's a fascinating company. So I'm the chief product officer at Quid. I'm lucky to have that opportunity. I joined them in January, so I'm getting towards a year in. But having spent my career at the commerce platform level, I've always been intrigued on from a business perspective. What's driving the decisions about what you're putting on the homepage? How do you market the thing correctly? And how does that transition into the store experience as well? How do merchandisers capture the mood of the consumer in order to sell and market the right things in the right way? And so my transition into Quid was interesting. Quid started its life in the social listening space, probably about 15, 20 years ago. So it's not a new company. there was a whole load of companies born around that space when social went large. But at that time, it was very much based on the notion of counting mentions and likes and quite a statistical way of looking at it. And then a little bit later, as we started to look at the posts themselves, we had some pretty rudimentary tools at the time to try and extract some kind of sentiment from those posts. So, sentiment analysis started to come in as well. So, Quid always has provided really cool tools for allowing businesses and agencies to understand what exactly is going on around social media, around their brand and the customer conversation. But really, the arrival of AI and large language models has put even greater focus on the information we can extract from the post content itself. What exactly are people saying? What's the meaning of it? And that's just unlocked a whole world of additional information of how brands and agencies can understand the customer narrative and attach it to trends and patterns and purchase behaviors. So, counting mentions and those things is still interesting, but it's allowed Quid to transition from not only being a social listening platform, but really elevate ourselves into the kind of consumer and market intelligence space, because social is only one of the data sets we have now. We've got news, we've got company, we've got patent. There's a huge variety of data sets that we've got. And really, without AI, this would be impossible. But being able to knit these different data sets together to actually find some really interesting insights is really the space that the Quid lives in now. So yes, we were born in social listening, and social listening as a space was kind of a thing born too early. AI has just unlocked it hugely to really understand the consumer narrative.
I'm going to be cheeky. I've not told you this yet, Ian, but I always go off brief. So Sorry about that.
Go for it.
Are you going to be able to read the LLMs then? How deep into the LLMs can you get in terms of, obviously it's really interesting. I was recently at a conference in Amsterdam where there was a lot of talk about how obviously AI has massively changed how we all search for products.
Yeah.
But how much can you tap into their data?
It's a great question. It's actually a question that's the wrong way round because
not a great question.
It is. It's actually a critical question because LLMs are trained at a point in time. They spend all our light bulbs flicker as they're training the latest models, and then GPT-4, GPT-5 comes out, but those are a snapshot. And the data that's inside of an LLM is only as good as the data that was there at that time it was trained. And they've got a few little ways of where they can kind of fall back to a web search if they need to, but that doesn't help a lot. But for the kind of space we're in, where we're trying to look at the trends that are happening now, if something exploded virally last night, the LLM doesn't know about that. And so the addition that we give to a normal LLM is that, yes, we can use LLMs to understand the question and to parse and understand the meaning of posts, but we have to help the LLM. We have to bring in our data into the context of an LLM for it to understand it. So there's a technique that we use called RAG, which is basically a way of informing the LLM about a whole other load of data which we uniquely have that the LLMs don't know about, because they just don't know social data. They kind of lean in quite heavily into Reddit, I understand. But in terms of the other social platforms where you have to pay for APIs to be able to get at this data, and we're lucky enough to have big partnerships with the social platform vendors to get hold of that data. OpenAI, they don't have those relationships. They don't get at the social data, certainly as it was last night.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. And I've been lucky enough to have a bit of a play with your platform, and it almost feels a bit LLM-y in its own right. Like the interface is really simple. It's really easy to, ask what you want for, and it gives you back the information that you need. Yep. Like it feels like you guys were almost a step ahead of the LLMs in terms of the product design.
Exactly. Well, we're trying to, when we were in the social listening space, it was always about selling analytical tools to analysts that live deep in consumer insights or in marketing departments that would try to glean some information and insights to share with the business. But no one else knew the Quid brand anywhere else in the business. there's a big push at the moment to actually being able to democratize the access to that data, because the insights that we can give are hugely important to all levels of an organization. You know, we've got so many stories where we've kind of created a report giving some insights, and the next thing we know, that insight's gone to the head of the CEO of a company because of the information we're providing. So it's certainly about, we still have the tools. Analysts use our tools to really slice and dice and go deep, but we're very big into the idea of presenting a chat interface so that anyone in the business, anyone that's got a question about their market, their consumer, their customer, their competitor, can simply ask a question, and we're going to get a pretty good response.
Yeah, and very based on what's going on right now.
And based on data that came in last night.
So, AI and human interpretation of AI.
Yeah.
What are you guys seeing there?
We're seeing a lot. I mean, it really comes down to the quality and the volume of trends that we're seeing. You know, we're doing a lot of work with retailers where we're using AI to kind of spot and validate and track trends as they occur. And that's no mean feat to be able to put the automation behind that. But when we identify a trend, our usual practice with our customers is that we'll kind of bring out 15 to 20 trends that we've spotted this week. We'll have a meeting with pretty senior people, say, look, this is what we're finding this week. Which ones do you want us to go deeper into? And so they say, right, those 5 are what we want to go deep. And the reason they want to go deep and we put a human in the loop is that, yes, we used our data and AI to reveal the trend. But if they're going to go do a marketing campaign and make big investments based on the insights we've made, having a human in the loop as a fallback is kind of a useful mechanism to make sure the quality is there. So for kind of high impact trends that we identify that are going to be heavily invested on by the business, probably best to have a human in the loop. At the end of the spectrum, we also have circumstances where we are going all the way from identifying a trend, revealing the kind of the products in our customers' catalog that match those trends, so they can then make the right changes on the website, elevate search terms in the right places, change content around. So go from a straight through from trend identification all the way to affecting change onto a website and being able to do that at scale. You can do that without a human in the loop. And we've done sufficient A/B testing to know that we are at least as good as a human to be able to do that, which is no mean feat in itself. But whether a search term is a little bit off or we've had a search term that isn't really needed isn't big impact. If someone's going to execute a marketing campaign on a trend we've identified, probably best to have a human in the loop.
Yeah, and because that's the thing, the AI tools are brilliant, but they still get stuff wrong all the time. We have trained we use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
We've trained our ChatGPT so well, yet it still makes mistakes. Like this morning, we've got an event at the end of November. We were rewriting some copy, wanted to add some bits in. So got Chat to write it, but based on what we told it, effectively.
Yep.
And it changed the day of the date. So it said Tuesday, the 26th of November instead of Wednesday, the 26th. And I mean, that's a really basic example.
It's when I see a lot, the time element is really strange in an LM style. The amount of times I still see the president, it still thinks the president of the US is wrong. It's like, don't Trump is there. Yeah. So time is a really interesting thing that I've seen things wrong time and time again around anything to do with what's today's date. And I see it in a lot of prompts, people almost give a reminder, like, based on the fact that today's date is blah, tell me this. We kind of have to reinforce what today is.
Yeah. So last night, I've got another example of ChatGPT getting something wrong, is I was watching a really, really naff Christmas TV movie thing on Netflix. So naff, but loved it. And Jamila, I can't say her name, Jamila Jamil was wearing a really nice jacket. I was like, I want that jacket skiing. It's really expensive. And so I took a photo of the logo because it wasn't, I'll just say the brands. It then came back and it told me it was Moose Knuckles, but I knew it wasn't Moose Knuckles because I know the Moose Knuckles logo. It was actually a brand called Maquillage. But it came back and told me, it was like, this is definitely Moose Knuckles. And I was like, no, it's not. I know the Moose Knuckles logo and it's not it.
And that's the thing that fools us still with AI responses, is that they are
so
goddamn sure about this is what it is. Take it as fact. And they're not very good at giving like we think.
Yeah.
You know, the responses are so reinforced and positive and confident that as humans we read and go like, sounds right then. Must be right.
And so many people are just taking it verbatim.
Correct.
I read so much content that has clearly been written by ChatGPT and has clearly got misinformation in.
And it's never had a human at least parse it, go like, looks okay.
People are getting really lazy. They're literally just not even checking what their AI tools are giving them and just posting it or using it.
I have little doubt that will get better, but right now it's still an issue to really trust the quality of the output based on the data it's got and how it's assembling that data to response and the overconfidence in which it delivers that response to you. Yeah.
I kind of like that it's not perfect because it reminds us as humans that we still need to interact with the AI tools and we can't trust the LLMs. Whereas if it was perfect, even less people would check it, I think. But I think that's a good example of where Quid is different because you guys it's not just the platform that people are getting most of the time with you guys.
Correct.
When you're working with some of the, big brands that you guys work with. Are you allowed to tell me some of these brands to put it into context for our listeners?
No, we work with the Walmarts of the world, and with big multi-category retailers is good for us. CPG brands, media and entertainment businesses that are the big ones that you can think of are the ones we work with.
And I think that's what's interesting is you're not just it's not just the system booting out a whole load of information.
Yep.
You're actually there to help guide them strategically and actually go, right, okay, well, this means this, and therefore if you do this, then this is what we
found that to be a really important part of our evolution, is like moving from a vendor that would sell tools and seats to people and kind of give you access to the ocean of data and say, good luck, I hope you find some fish. We actually work with you to find those fish for you and present it in a way that's consumable by your business. It's a much more of a deeper partnership with our customers rather than a tools provider, because as the data's got complicated, the tools have got complicated, but we're finding more and more people need access to this information. So you have to change your engagement model with customers to reach that.
Yeah, love that. Oh, so excited. Now, the bit I'm really excited about. So hopefully you lovely listeners have now got some really good context into what Quid does. Now, I'm going to start grilling you on what we all need to know as 2026 approaches. I want to kind of delve into some of the retail, well, not just retail, but some of the insights that you're starting to see come through the platform from all of the amazing.
I've got two good ones for you.
Go on, two good ones.
So firstly, we're all familiar with the idea of Secret Santa. You buy a present and you gift it to a friend or whatever. One thing that we are seeing, and it's kind of started at kind of part of the whole Jellycat phenomenon, but they've introduced the notion of blind gifting, which is not only do you not know who you're kind of buying for, but you're basically buying a gift and you don't know what you're buying, and that's getting gifted to your recipient. So neither party know what the hell you've actually bought.
Hang on,
until it's actually revealed.
You're buying. So you do know who you're buying for.
You know you're buying for, but you don't know what you've bought.
Yeah. I love that. So basically, I can go on, and Jellycat started this today. It's so cute.
Yeah.
But
we're seeing that transition away from people are picking up the whole idea of blind gifting as a trend now, and we're seeing it go into other sectors. So that's an interesting one to watch as a kind of change to the Secret Santa.
Yeah.
approach.
So you buy something from Jellycat for someone, you don't tell you they don't know what they're going to get, and you
don't know what you bought.
What you got? I love that. Yeah, totally blind gifting.
It's a surprise to both parties when it actually gets open.
That's really cute, though, isn't it? Because it does. It makes it even more exciting to buy gifts.
Yeah.
And who knows what you might get? I'm actually obsessed with Jellycat. I mean, as is everyone. They have had such a huge year. You see them everywhere. Everyone of every age is obsessed. They are the cutest things ever. Like every time you go into a store, and is it Selfridges or Liberties or Harrods? Selfridges, for instance.
Go mad for it.
Literally, I went in there the other day, and there's like hundreds of people, not just kids.
Queuing.
Yeah. So and they've clearly done some really cool, clever things.
Yeah, they have. They've innovated for sure.
So there we go. Christmas, guys.
Yeah.
Blind gifting is the future. Go and search that through
Another good one for you. So another good one, which is probably more not as revolutionary, but is kind of something that's become a thing, which is we're seeing a trend all of a sudden what people are calling Ralph Lauren Christmas, which is I guess an extension of the kind of quiet luxury look, American preppy, kind of alpine cottage look for Christmas, but it's, you know, they put a Ralph Lauren label on it.
I'm almost there.
Heavy tartans.
Almost there, guys.
Basically, the look when you walk into a Ralph Lauren store and being able to transfer that into Christmas notes is got a label for it now. So it's I think the look has been around for a while, but putting that label on it is we certainly see, probably about a 40% year-on-year growth of people referring to that as their look. Yeah.
I love that. See, look, guys, by accident, I promise the lovely Ian did not brief me on this. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will see that I am wearing tartan and clearly very on the future trends of 2026. I'm already there.
There you go.
Amazing. So other things, I want to delve a bit deeper in terms of overarching focuses for brands.
Yep.
Certainly, I mean, we have a lot of retail listeners
Yep.
on the podcast, so I am going to delve into retail because
Yep.
I know that a lot of my listeners will care and
For
love
sure.
about this. Anything else that they more broadly should be focused on in terms of trends that you guys are seeing, or things that they should be doing, learning, like anything else more broad, I guess.
I think the broader story that we're finding is a retailer's ability to be agile on trends. That's really the overarching reason. There's a lot of work that retailers do, especially ones with private label that are doing their own product development as well, where they're acting on trends and trend services that try and predict what's 12 to 18 months out to try and get ahead of what they need to buy for next season. And they've kind of got, processes down for that. They know how to do that stuff. But in terms of being able to be reactive to trends that maybe we've identified now that, act on in the next 2 to 3 weeks or don't bother, that is so, it's proven that can be so effective in driving sales in areas that they just haven't quite latched onto immediately. But they just don't have the organizations or the technologies to be able to move agile quickly enough to adopt them. So when we're identifying a trend now, to be able to have the processes in place where I can tweak a search or I can change content or change my content plan all of a sudden. Well, that's been locked down for the last month. Don't influence it now. That's the friction point, is getting retailers to a point where they can actually be agile enough to let people buy on trend rather than on just what the retailer decides to push for them that week. And it's a balance, because retailers clearly have their own marketing campaigns, they have their own messaging to do, but the ability for them to work and apply their works on trend is still, believe it or not, still pretty embryonic. They really haven't quite worked that out. Further out, trying to guess what they're going to buy for next season, a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more mature. But how to act on these near-term trends, it's still an embryonic area.
Yeah, I love that though, because it's so true, isn't it? Like I shop based on, of course, based on things that I like, but I want to be wearing, the in things when it comes to fashion.
Importantly, it's the younger generations that are inspirational shoppers. They buy on inspiration, rather than us older generation that still like to go and research a thing and come to our own conclusion on what we want to buy. When you're Instagram shopping, you're just going to hit the buy button. You're going to get inspired to purchase immediately, and that phenomenon is so much more prevalent in the Gen Zs of the world than it is the old generation. So retailers have got to adjust themselves to be able to apply their marketing and their merchandising to meet the consumer trend as it is now, as opposed to committing to a marketing plan that's 2 years out.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. We've spotted that, and I do think AI and the LLMs are influencing this as well.
Yep.
But trends change constantly. Technology changes constantly. News impacts of things that are happening in the world. There's so much that can change. So I think brands' ability to be agile more than ever is now so important, because what was cool yesterday might totally change overnight because I don't know, one of the Kardashians has worn something.
Exactly.
Like, you literally have to be able, within your platforms, within your marketing content, whatever it is, you've got to be able to change like that.
Exactly.
So prioritize content.
And very often it's not necessarily, I need to create new products all of a sudden. For retailers, it's more about, I've already got products in the warehouse for this season. What I've got is what I've got. I've got to merchandise those in the best way. So if I can attach, to a trend and reorient my merchandising to say, right, that's what I've got in stock right now. How do I bend that to meet the needs of the trend and merchandise and market in that way? That's kind of the near-term issues they've got to think about.
Yeah. And look, of course, we can put, I guess you guys are helping your, customers predict trends, what's going to cut, what's coming next, what's coming, what are the, I guess another interesting sector here is FMCG or CPG, food. We've seen the rise of brands like Perfect Head. We actually had them speak at our Marketing in the Madness Live conference recently. But we've seen the rise of things like matcha. People are much more conscious around what they're putting into their bodies. There's been a huge evolution in terms of, I'd probably buy most of them, vitamins, minerals, like what we care about and what the things that are going to be coming. And you guys can, I guess, help alert.
We've just been building a report looking at coffee and coffee consumption and tastes and the older flavors of vanilla and everything are kind of continue to be great, but the
vanilla coffee right here.
There you go. But we're starting to see people certainly lean into the whole idea of protein enhanced coffee. We're starting to see some citrus elements to coffee, which I can't get my head around either. But even the coffee space itself, flavors evolve. People try new things. We're starting to see some blueberry influences. People are going mad for tasting, and so food is a really interesting area because we can find trends that hop between food types very quickly because it goes down to the ingredient level, as you say. So, cumin had its moment of last year. Ginger is on the rise at the moment. These things just come in and out, but when it comes in, you see ginger coming up in all sorts of different food types. We work with CPG companies who use our capabilities to understand what the consumers are saying about their unmet needs, their wants, their desires around tastes and textures and those kind of things. And that's all used as part of the product innovation cycles they do for new product development.
Love that. You guys are involved with helping brands not just stay ahead in terms of their product development, but also how they go to market, how they position them. It's so interesting.
It's fun.
I'm obsessed. Do you want to offer me a job? I
love chat.
Chat after. So, Ian, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's been fun, Katie.
Yeah, I've absolutely loved it. I know what I need to go and research now, or I know what I need to go and buy. So just before we go, how can people find you? I guess they can go and check out Quid on the website, connect with you on LinkedIn. You happy for us to share that in the show notes?
Yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. We're on quid.com and lots of interesting content for you to read and understand us a little bit more.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katie.